After the dust settles, do y'all hear that? After the dust settles, what does that mean? You know, God is telling you after that dust settles in your life, you're going to understand everything that you didn't understand before. When everything settles in your life, you're going to understand why you had to go through certain things in your life. You're going to understand why things happened the way they happened. You're going to understand why God allowed an answer to be delayed. But listen, a delay doesn't mean you've been denied. It doesn't mean that. Just because God has delayed the answer, just because God has delayed the breakthrough, just because God has delayed the answer prayer, it doesn't mean He told you no. It doesn't mean He said no. It means just what it means. I'm going to allow this to be delayed for a reason, and I'm going to allow this thing to be delayed just for a season. You know, when God sees that you have the wrong people in your company, when God sees that you have these spiritual leeches that came to take and not to add and to plant positive things in your life, you know, God will hold that back from you because it's never God's intention for you to fatten up your enemies. God said, I'm going to prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. He didn't tell you to prepare a table and allow your enemies to come and sit at that table and to eat and to be fed. No, He didn't call you to do that. You know, so many people are getting this wrong. When God tells us to bless our enemies, He tells us to pray for them. People believe that blessing your enemies means open up your home and just roll out the red carpet and take these people on shopping sprees and take these people on vacation. No, that's not what God means. Bless means you're going to speak well of. When you have an opportunity to speak ill or evil towards your enemies, God say bless them. So He's literally telling you and I not to speak negative things over our enemies. That's what that means. Don't get that twisted. Don't get that wrong, because so many people are getting bitten by the enemy because you're placing yourself in a position that God never wanted you to put yourself in. You got to remember your enemy is your enemy, and they didn't change. They may have changed their clothes. They may have changed the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they wore their hair, how they groom themselves. But don't you ever forget that an enemy is an enemy. And always remember this: they came to kill, to steal, and to destroy every beautiful thing that God came to give you. You cannot forget that. You know, just because the person who hated you yesterday comes around for a few minutes and shows you a positive side of them, you have to give people enough time and opportunity to bear fruit. And this is how you're going to know the heart of people, by the fruit that they bear. And when you see the fruit that a person is bearing, you accept it for whatever it is. You don't try to make it out to be anything else. You don't justify it. You take it as face value because you have questions, and God is not going to leave your questions without an answer. You want revelation? God said, I'm going to start revealing things that have been hidden from you, the things that people tried to conceal from you, the things that people did behind your back, secretive things that you didn't have an idea that they were doing. God said, this is why I'm going to cause the mask to come off, because I'm getting ready to place you in a position of power, authority, of blessing. And I want you to understand who that it is walking next to you. You got to know your enemy so you can keep that enemy under your feet. You got to remember why your enemy is here and why he came and what he's trying to do. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived, family. The enemy is very cunning. He's very sly. You know, the Bible even tells us to be harmless as a dove, but wise as a serpent. We got to be wise people. And God said, ask for wisdom. He'll give it to us freely, and He upbraideth not. That means He's not going to make you feel bad. He's not going to make you feel shame or guilty about asking Him something that you have no idea what it means. Your enemies are in your life to bless you. Your enemies are in your life to promote you. You will never get to a certain level in your life without your enemies. You won't. There are certain promotions in the kingdom that you will never get until you defeat some enemies. You know, your enemies, when you defeat them, there's a reward when you defeat that enemy. It is. It's just like when you move up from level to level and there's different devils on that level. That means there are different rewards and different levels of promotion. You remember David when he slayed Goliath? There was a prize waiting for him when he killed that giant. There's a prize waiting for you when you slay your Goliath. There's a blessing behind you slaying your giant. What giant is peeking his head in your life? What giant is hindering and preventing you from getting to the place where you know you should have been? That's the giant that you guys have to slay. I'm grateful to all of you for what you do daily on our channel. Thank all of you for subscribing, liking, and sharing. I love all of you so much. I'm praying for you. Remember that the best is truly yet to come for you guys. We'll talk later.